My name is Antony Walker. I'm Deputy CEO of techUK, and I'm delighted to welcome you all this morning to this third annual Digital Ethics Summit on Election Eve 2019. Hands up, all those who've been enjoying the election so far? Not so much. Hopefully today can provide a welcome distraction from the quality of political debate that we've been enjoying over the last few weeks. We've got a really fascinating but also incredibly important agenda ahead of us. But what we do have today is a room full of experts. We have sessions and panels throughout the day brimming with knowledge. And a real desire, I think, to get into the detail of one of what is the biggest challenges that our generation faces, which is how do we ensure the safe, responsible, and ethical use of powerful new digital technologies. It was back in December 2017 that we first brought people together here in this building to think about how we could start to navigate some of these big challenges. And we focused then on some of the institution building that we thought needed to happen to address some of these issues. And we focused on the discussions around what have become the Centre for Data Ethics Innovation and also the Ada Lovelace Institute, both of which are kind of represented here today. Then we reconvened last year to look at the emerging body of ethical frameworks. And I think we concluded that we had probably enough ethical frameworks and that this year, 2019, needed to be a year of action, a year when we put these principles and these frameworks to work. So today, as promised last year, this is all about marking our homework and assessing the extent to which digital ethics have and can have an impact on these really big issues. Because our purpose should be to use technology to make things better. To make things better for people, for our society, our economy, and the planet. But these are quite challenging times, even for a glass half full optimist like me. In December 2019, we stand on the cusp of a new decade, but it doesn't feel like a very comfortable place to be. There is so much happening so quickly on such a huge scale globally that potentially has such huge implications that it can feel quite overwhelming. And I was really struck by some of what Rachel Caldicott has said recently, where she asked the question about whether it's possible to have just enough internet, neither too little nor too much. Is there a way for our society to get technology just right? Well, I think that's our mission, to get technology just right. And that's our focus for today. We've got some excellent speakers, and we're going to be looking at the progress we're making in terms of implementing those principles. We're going to be breaking out and focusing on the questions around fairness, around transparency, diversity, accountability, and explainability. We're going to look at the question about the role of tech as a force for good, and we're going to look at public engagement and the impact that technology is having on our democracy. Now, one issue that we haven't talked about much in previous years, and I'm not sure the extent to which it'll come up today, but is, of course, the climate emergency. But I wanted to assure you that even if that doesn't become an issue that we talk about in great detail today, it is an issue that techUK is very much focused on. And we're focusing on the challenge both of decarbonising the digital economy itself, and in particular the data in terms of data centres, networks, and digital devices. But we're also focused on the opportunity for technology to drive the decarbonisation of the rest of the economy. And I have to say that this is an area where I am an optimist, because I think of all the difficult parts of the economy, the places that will be difficult to decarbonize, the digital economy isn't going to be the one that's most difficult to decarbonize. Digital can be driven, of course digital requires a lot of power and a lot of electricity, but a lot of that electricity can be renewable, and indeed the sector can be a great driver for investment in renewable capacity. And one thing I'd sort of flag is just last month we produced this energy route map that's focusing on the question of kind of data centers and how you get to carbon net zero for data centers, but also how they could be carbon positive in the future. And I would urge you to take a look at that. It's available on the website, and I think there are some copies at the desk if anybody wants to look at that in more detail. Now, a couple of things. First of all, I really must thank our sponsors for today, to Microsoft, Intel, Visa, Splunk, and Quantum Black. Without them, this event simply wouldn't have been possible. All of them are participating in the discussions and debates today, and a huge thanks to all of them. I'd also like to thank all of our partners who've supported us in putting this event together as well. During the course of today, we'll be using Slido as a means to have engagement between the audience and the panels and so on. So I think there are details there in terms of how you can access Slido from your digital device. And the hashtag digital ethics works for Slido, and also we'll be using the hashtag digital ethics for Twitter throughout the day. Now, there's one other thing that we wanted to mention today. We're very conscious that this is an event that falls just before Christmas, and I'm guessing that, like me, all of you will probably have walked past somebody who is homeless today. And homelessness is a pretty awful thing for anybody to experience at any time of year, but Christmas is a particularly awful time, both in terms of the weather, but also the emotional impact for people who have loving and warm homes to go to at Christmas. So techUK has decided that we are going to make a donation to Crisis to help them with all the work that they do in helping homeless people. And we've set up a Just Giving page, and techUK will be making a £1,000 contribution to that. I understand the payment hasn't gone through yet, but do please take it from me. You have my word. You have my word that techUK is making a £1,000 contribution. We will be, well, hang on, don't clap just yet, because we'll be feeding all of you through the course of the day. And I would just like to ask you to think of others who maybe are being less well fed this time of year. Please do feel free to make a contribution, however small. It can make a difference, but we do think at this time of year it's important that we are giving back to those in most need. So now we move on to the agenda proper. Elizabeth Denham was very, very keen to be joining us today, but sadly, for family reasons, she has to be back in Canada, and she's had to go back at very short notice. But she very, very kindly has gone to extraordinary lengths to record a video for us of the speech that she was intending to give. So we're going to hear from Liz very, very shortly. But then we do also have her colleagues from ICO who are going to be on the panels and available to take questions later. But I do know that Elizabeth was very sorry not to be here. But I think we will now, as they say, roll the VT and hear from Liz. Thank you very much.